Hi, everybody. My name is Christina, and welcome to the Sheepishly Knitting podcast. I think this should be episode 7. I actually filmed episode 6 over 3 weeks ago and still haven't edited it yet. So I assume this video and the one prior will come out not too far apart. Also, I have this mic with me. It's nice having a techie boyfriend. This is his mic, and I just borrowed it to see if I like the quality better. So maybe from now on I will use the microphone. Yeah, as I said, it's been a little over 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks. I actually can't remember exactly, but I actually don't have too many finished objects. I have 2, but they are pretty small-ish. And I do, however, have quite a few exciting works in progress to talk about. So, yeah, let's jump right into it, I think. I will start with what I'm wearing. This is the Minou cardigan by Luisa Rehkopf. I am wearing it for this podcast, but I will be frogging this sometime. I have quite a bit of this yarn left over, but it's not enough for a whole sweater. And this is like one of my biggest fails. It looks nice from this angle, but yeah, I did the mistake of shortening the body and the sleeves quite a bit because I wanted to wear it with dresses and skirts as well, but it just looks too short. It looks quite awkward, and the sleeves also turned out way shorter. I think after like blocking and drying, they shrunk up a little bit more than I thought. Also, like the cuff is very tight, so I will be frogging this one, and I won't reknit this in the near future just because I'm not sure if I like the style on me. So yeah, I will use the yarn for something different. I do have 2 ideas what I want to do with this, so I'm equally excited about both of those. The other thing is, maybe you can see in the background, there are like these black pom-poms flying around. My birthday was, I think, 5 days ago. So I adore Ghibli, so I wanted to do a Ghibli themed party, and for decorations, I did like these black pom-poms with eyeballs to resemble the Suit Sprites from Spirited Away and Totoro. And I have them all around the flat. I also made some muffins, and my mom baked a cake for me, which I decorated with like the I don't know how they're called in English. I only know the German name of these, like the little spirits from Princess Mononoke. Maybe I will insert pictures. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, so I don't count these as finished objects. I just wanted to show you. Also, it was so hard finding a black acrylic yarn. I wanted to use like a cheap yarn. And I had to buy like this 400-gram skein. So I have a ton of black acrylic yarn left over. Not quite sure what I will do with this, but I think even like for baby knits, it would be quite practical. Speaking of baby knits, I will start talking about my finished objects. My first finished object, I will count as finished. The only thing that's not finished is the yarn ends of the duplicate stitch, but I will just first talk about this. This is a baby sweater. I knitted. I have this like Baby Merino by Rico Design, I think, magazine, I think issue number 2 or something. And this is also like Baby Merino yarn, the by Rico Design, the beige one. I just got both like the yarn and the magazine as a gift, and my cousin became a first-time dad, I think exactly a week ago, and I'm so excited. This was like the cousin we grew up very closely, so I really wanted to knit something for the baby. As I said, I had this baby merino, and this is just pure merino I had left over from a hat I knit for my boyfriend. Normally I wouldn't go for this kind of colored combo for like children. I'm really not a fan of like using like beige and like these typical baby colors for baby garments. I prefer like brighter colors and stuff. But this is what I had. I also didn't have enough of the beige yarn, so I did stripes, and I just did some maths. It didn't work out actually, but it worked out. Like, I wanted to have 5 stripes. I think for blue, no, I even wanted like 5 blue stripes and like 6 of the beige ones, but as you can see, this didn't happen. I don't know how I calculated it, but obviously I did it wrong. Anyways, this pattern is knit flat and then seamed everywhere, and I really didn't want to do this, so it is also knitted bottom up, which I don't mind because I don't know baby sizes anyway, so I will just follow the instructions. The only time I dislike knitting bottom up is when I want to try things on. So what I did is I kind of hacked the pattern to be knit in the round until I split for the arms, and then I knit the front and the back separately, and then I picked up stitches around the arms and did the arms or the sleeves in reverse. It has a little button on the back to like be able to fit a baby's head. I don't know how big babies' heads are, so I'm not quite sure if this will fit a 7 to 9 months, which is the size of the sweater, baby's head. But I do have a tiny bit of the brown beige yarn left over, so I will just tell them, and if it's too small, I will just reknit the color. Yeah, but I think at least for the time being, it should be fine. I was thinking about doing like a little initial on the sweater, but I wasn't sure because it was like so visually busy already. But when I showed it to my family, like my parents and my sister and stuff, everybody suggested to do an initial. So I thought about it anyway. So yeah, I just did it. I really didn't have a lot of yarn in the right thickness to choose from color-wise, so I just went with this brown because I wanted to have a little bit of contrast, and I also thought it went well with the button on the back. Yeah, this is supposed to be a D. I don't know if it reads as a D. I'm not too proud of my duplicate stitch work, but I think it is fine, and worst case, I can still remove it. Modifications that I did are obviously the stripes, and I also knit the stripes in stockinette stitch just because I wanted to try it out. Maybe you will be able to tell, like the first stripe I did, you can see like the pearl bumps in the blue yarn, and I didn't really like that. I prefer the really clean, or rather I prefer when both sides look the same. So because the bottom line was so clean, I really wanted the top line to be clean as well. So what I did is the first round after changing back to the beige yarn, I just knit a round of stockinette stitch before going into this seed stitch, I think this is called. I really didn't enjoy working with this yarn. This yarn is quite thin. I think this is superwash yarn. No, I know this is superwash yarn, and I think this is the first time working with superwash yarn except for maybe socks. Although I'm not sure if I knit socks that weren't cotton. And Yeah, I really didn't like the feeling of it stretching over my fingers. Also, I think this will pill quite easily because even like in the ball, it already fluffed up a little bit. So as you can see, maybe it looks like it already is pilling a little bit. So I can only imagine that it will get worse with wear. Also because it's like superwash, the picked up stitches around the collar and around the sleeves were a little loose at some points. So especially on the collar, I had like holes here which looked very bad. So I just stitched them up afterwards. And yeah, but overall I'm very happy with my first like real baby sweater. I am quite surprised how long this took me because it was on such, I knit this on 3.5mm needles. I expected baby knits to go faster, to be honest. It took me longer than I expected, but it is finished now and it's just waiting for us to meet up with a new baby. So yeah, first finished object. And the second finished object, I'm not sure if they're maybe still a little damp, is also a gift knit. These are the Arched Gusset Mittens by Pearl Soho, and I knit these for my grandma in Siberia. Yeah, I blocked these 2 days ago, but I think they're still a little tiny bit damp, so I will just put them on. I knit these out of leftover yarn from my mom's cardigan I knit her for her birthday last year. And this is the Drops Lima in the dark ivy, I think, colorway, held together with the Isea silk mohair, I think in the color 56. So the Isea mohair is a little more cool toned, and the Drops Lima is a little bit more foresty green. And I really like the color they create together. I wanted to knit quite dense mittens. This is why I also held a mohair with it, and I think this is more of an Aran weight yarn. I actually started these some time ago. I finished the one in January, but I didn't have enough of the Lima, so I ordered another skein, and while waiting for it, other projects took the priority, and I just did this like in 2 days, sometime in February, the second one. And I knit these on 3.5mm needles because I wanted these to be very dense since she lives in Siberia. And yeah, I'm quite happy how they turned out. There are two things. One, I have like this weird stitch right here on the first mitten. I don't know what happened here. Maybe it's like an accidental short row or something. I really don't know. And for the other mitten, for the left hand mitten, I don't know if I messed up the decreases here or what happened here, but it turned out a little like, it has like this little edge here. This is a way smoother curve than this one, so not sure what happened there, but otherwise I am quite happy. The only thing is they turned out a little like the cuff is a little shorter than I would prefer, so I'm still thinking about picking up the stitches here and just doing some ribbing just to elongate the cuff area because you want your mittens to be very like windproof in Siberia. These were all of my finished objects, and I will talk about my WIBs now. I will start with the biggest one. My first work in progress is my very first test knit. I am very excited. I got chosen as a tester for Knitonomy, and I am testing the Fresno Sweater Chunky. Yeah, I think that's the name. Fresno Sweater Chunky. It is an all-over cabled Aran weight sweater. I am almost done with the yoke. So I'm knitting this one out of Drops Nepal. The start of this was had a little hiccup. I actually really wanted to use this yarn I had in stash. This is 70% merino, 10% silk, 10% cashmere, and 10% Angora mix. I bought it at the Hamburger Wollfabrik last November because they have a sale once a year. And this is a more expensive base of theirs. And I really wanted to try it out because the sample felt very, very nice. But then I didn't have a concrete project in mind for this. I was thinking about doing like something cabled with this yarn. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to use this yarn. However, I couldn't get gauge. So I made these two swatches and I wasn't getting gauge because I didn't check the thickness, and it turns out that this is more or less a DK weight yarn right now. I thought because this is like cone yarn, which is done for machine knitting, it is coated with quite a bit of spinning oil. And I thought with washing it would bloom a lot more than it did. Yeah, I made a few swatches, and then I also made swatches holding the yarn double and everything, and then I went to the store and was contemplating on adding more strands to the yarn to get an Aran weight to yarn. But at that point I already had a kilogram of the yarn and I would have to buy pretty much another whole sweater quantity to make this an Aran weight yarn. And I really didn't want to do this because I am trying hard to work through my stash right now. So yeah, this is a swatch that hit gauge, but I really didn't want to buy another sweater quantity of the same yarn in the same color. So I decided to buy a yarn that was recommended in the Test Knit, and this was Drops Nepal. And I am actually so happy that I did because I very much prefer these cables over this one. These strands are not plied together. The texture is quite flat, so I very much prefer how the cables look in this yarn. And I also adore this color. This is like a very purplish gray or grayish lavender. Depending on the light, it leans more purple or more gray, which I love. So yeah, as I said, I also had to size up a needle, like a needle size from a 5.5 to a 6mm needle, just because my cables tend to be very tight. My next work in progress is a less exciting one, just because I didn't get a lot done on this. This is the Helix bag from the Rose Knitwear book, and yeah, this will become like a bag one day. I hope, at least. I am a little worried because it doesn't seem as structured as it should be. As you can see, it's like curling outwards and everything. This might be due to the yarn being like very stretchy because this is like jersey yarn. It also might be because my gauge is a little tight because I use way smaller needles. I only cast this on because I had this yarn lying around for almost 2 years and these needles lying around for almost 2 years, and I never used either one of those, so I just cast it on to be able to use this up. So yeah, I hope this works out. And actually this does hurt my hands quite a bit while knitting, so I only knit like 1 or 2 rows at night and also not every night, so yeah, it's growing rather slowly. I'm sorry if I get a little bit out of breath every now and then. I actually already filmed a whole other episode with my spring knitting plans, so I already talked for over an hour, and I'm not used to talking so much in a day. My next work in progress is at a weird stage right now. This is my first self-drafted sweater. I saw this picture on Pinterest a few months ago, and since then I really wanted like this fluffy pink sweater. Yeah, I really wanted a pink fluffy sweater, and as you know, as a knitter, I can't just buy a pink fluffy sweater, I have to knit it myself. So I was in a search for this, for like this specific pink color. This is the Mayflower New Sky in the color, I think 84. But I think this is a discontinued colorway, so I hope I have enough yarn. This sweater I am self-drafting. I took measurements from a hoodie that I already have, which is like the best fitting garment that I own right now. I just try to recreate the fit more or less. Right now I have, my issue is that I picked up too many stitches around the sleeves, so the sleeves are way too wide. So I will just start the second sleeve and try to figure out the decrease rate. But other than that, I'm quite happy with the fit. I hope the sleeves work out with a smaller pickup rate. If I would do this again, I would probably change the neckline a little bit more. But for this being like my first self-drafted sweater and first time using short row shaping, or like first time figuring out short row shaping on my own, I'm quite happy with how this is turning out. Also, this will become a double folded collar at some point. But for now, I just want to make sure like I like the fit of everything before sewing this down. Sadly, I don't know when I will be knitting on this again, because I have my test knit, which I have to finish until the end of March. And this is also a very warm sweater. I don't think I will get a lot of use out of two very warm sweaters from March on. So yeah, I might postpone this sweater until fall or something. Or at least until later in the year, because I do have quite a few plans for spring knitting as well. So this will get on the back burner a little bit. I think these were all of my knitting whips, but I do have a new exciting whip. I wanted to learn how to crochet for some time now, and it was my birthday. As I said, it was my birthday a couple of days ago, and one of my friends gifted me this little crochet kit for this sunflower bag. And yeah, I started learning how to crochet 2 days ago. So this is the first thing that I did. I did like this sunflower granny square. If anybody knows why it's so wonky, please let me know. Probably my tension is just very off, but nevertheless, I was quite proud of how this turned out. Actually, didn't do any trials beforehand. I just watched the tutorial and started right away. And yeah, this is how it's looking so far. I did make a few mistakes along the way. Like I have an extra petal, so the sunflower should have 16 petals. I have 17. And I think, oh yeah, you can tell here where I skipped like one of the, I don't know how you call this, but like one of the stitches, I guess. So in the end, I do have a 4x4 square, but yeah, I did have a mistake in the beginning, but I don't mind it for the first project. Also, this is probably not a bag that I will be wearing, so I don't mind this not working out for the first time. This is more of a project for me to learn, and I am having a lot of fun doing this. So after I finished the front panel, basically, I started to do the back panel. And here I just kind of, I think, miscounted or something, but I kept on making the same mistake. Like here, I think I just inserted my hook into the wrong opening. And yeah, I did the same mistake a couple of times. I think like 3 or 4 times after another. So I was kind of annoyed and put this aside. But I really wanted to crochet a little more, so I just found this free pattern on Ravelry for the Sunburst. I think it's called the Sunburst crochet granny square. And I just did a granny square out of leftover yarn I have. I kind of realized some time ago I prefer like this more variegated colorway and how it looks in crochet rather than knit. And I have knit a whole head out of this yarn, and I really don't really like the patterning this creates. It's like the colors pool quite a bit and everything. So I just wanted to try to use this in crochet, and I actually really like how this looks. I also think for like my second crochet it looks quite good, especially as I was just looking up the stitches as I went. But I do think the tension is still a little tight. But I think this is mostly due to my crochet hook. The biggest size that I have is a 3mm one, but I think this should be worked on a thicker hook. Just wanted to try it out, and I like how it looks. So I'm not a big fan of the head that I made out of this, so maybe I will just crochet something out of this yarn, or another plan that I had was to use this yarn for another baby knit. So these are basically all of my works in progress, but I do have a few plans and acquisitions I want to talk about. Most of my acquisitions, except for like the Nepal yarn for the Fresno chunky sweater, were gifts, which I already talked about, like the crochet kit. Another acquisition that I have from my birthday is the Ecolana wool wash. I'm not sure of the brand name, but like the popular wool wash. And I got it in the jasmine scent, and I did my first blocking party, if you will, with it. And it just smells so good. I am very happy about this. I think these are all of my acquisitions. I'm really trying not to buy any yarn at the moment. I think this is everything I want to talk about. I do have quite a few plans for spring, so if you're interested, check out my spring knitting plans video. And other than that, I really am excited to start spring knitting. I hope I will be able to finish the Fresno sweater quite soon, and then I will dive into spring knitting full force. Let me know what you are working on. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope my next one won't be too far away, but I do have 3 videos I need to edit now, so I need to get a head start for this. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye bye!